Where were we?
It had never visited you in
Yeah,
university.
you had. I bet you had never visited me
I
before.
had visited you.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, it's a new place. I was accustomed to the place. You were new at the place, so you had to do a lot of adjusting. Me, I think it was the place I'd stayed in for some time, so there was no adjusting. Or maybe the only adjustment now to accommodate someone. Yes, I was used to. I'm going to work. I just get ready, maybe 15 minutes to my departure time. Now we have to wake up a little, maybe an hour before the time of departure. Yes, because and I think the thing was maybe the place has two bathrooms, and as you go to this bathroom, within the bathroom, and make it a little quicker and faster too. But I think, yeah, accommodating a new person, now you really have to know now to learn to be patient with yourself and also with the other person because you're used to, okay, I'll brush while showering. Like you showering while brushing and doing the same thing. Then you realize even if I do this, I'm still going to wait for 30 minutes, whether I'm late or not. So really, I'm better to just take my time. And yeah, so maybe those are the little adjustments I've had to. Yeah.
So also maybe me misplacing your things. Like your things have to be in this place.
Ah,
So when
oh
I'm
yeah, that
arranging, I
one.
just do a
Yeah, that's
whole
one.
thing, different thing, and then you don't like it.
Yeah, that one maybe. Now that one, the thing is, I everything in my house used to belong somewhere and is placed in a particular position. For example, the car keys go at a certain table, in a certain angle, in a certain corner. House keys go on the top of the fridge after locking. Like everything has a place to go. And just because I don't want to, okay, you are going in the morning and you start to ask yourself, where did I put my watch? Where did I put, like, you waste a lot of time looking for where you put this, you put that. So I make sure that everything has a place it is placed so that like you don't waste a lot of time trying to look for those things. So yeah, I think that's what you had to adjust to. But I think at the end you realize it's a good thing. It saves us a lot of time, right?
Don't know that. Yeah, but it's true. So after at some point I realized I take a lot of time looking for things which I should have maybe found a place for, and I know that I get this here, I get here. So I just put things wherever I want to put them. Then when you're looking for them, it's a whole other story. So I think his method is better. I must say that I'm still adjusting. Like with my own things, I can know where to put his things because I'm like, he wants it here. This is where I found it. But my own things now. And of course, if we are going somewhere and I'm looking for something and it's taking so long, then he's affected. Like the patience has to be, there is a necessary patience to be exercised. But otherwise, I agree. That's,
Okay. Then the year has been so fast as we said already. What was that big learning experience, big thing that you've learned in 1 year? Learn to forgive? Did you learn to?
mm, yeah, I think I've learned to extend grace. Extend grace. That's one thing that I've learned. Like I'm that person who wants to express everything that has affected me. I mean, like, why did you talk to me like this at this point of the day or what? Later on today you did this. Earlier in the morning you did this. So I would, like, any small thing that has affected me, I would want us to talk about it in detail, see ways forward, what. But I've learned to overlook some things, like realize that this is not important. I can move past it because you know how they say that even like small things sometimes even matter the most. So it would be like it's like a small thing. Don't make it a big deal, but to you, you feel like it's a big thing. Like don't need to talk to me like that. You should have, hey, why did you leave without hugging me? You just moved out like I non-existent. Oh, but just look at it and like, you know what, the bigger picture is was going to do this, like as if making excuses for the other person, but a way to extend grace, or to just be to also like look within and be like, this is a small thing compared to everything else he's doing for you, everything else is. So I've learned to like extend grace. That one I've learned. Yeah, and maybe that comes with forgiveness.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because when you're about to hold a grudge, you're like, maybe this is, I don't need to hold a grudge. I don't need to revenge by, talking back a certain way. Yeah, so even there are times I've failed, of course, and it's a small thing, and maybe I've made it a big deal, but it could have been worse if I'd not learned this lesson and tried to apply it in different things and just move on. Like, it doesn't matter. Indeed, like they tell us that if you look at something and it won't matter like 5 years from now or even two, then you just ignore it. So I've learned that extending grace, forgiving, and also maybe forgiving myself. Yeah, because
So
someone
you
told
struggle
me.
forgiving yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me you did this, why are you repeating this mistake? Even me, I feel so bad. And um, in before we got married, while we were in the process, while when we did Ndoa, they told us to find like that couple who that you can tell everything
Yeah.
at any time. So our matron and best man were the people that we chose. So when we get like those couples, those hard times, I've talked to my matron many times, and she's like, your biggest critic. She has told me that, and I used to feel like, no, but he's right. He what? Like,
Mm.
that's what has happened to me a lot of times. So you find like somebody has already pointed this out, and then you're carrying it on as a burden. I'm not good at this. I'm not doing this. So I've also learned to forgive myself, because it's hard to extend what you don't have. If I can't forgive myself, then it will be hard for me to forgive you. But I've just learned, like, even if they are saying you're doing this badly, I'm like, you know what? It is true. Instead of crying for 20 days about the thing, you can cry for like one day.
And
and
get
then
back to
and then the
work.
next day you get back to normal. You're like, you know what? Yes, I'm not good at this thing. How can I improve it? Or even if it's real failing, I don't have to kill myself. Like, I'm like, okay, this is the reaction I'm going to get, but I'm also human. Like, I've learned to extend grace to myself while then extending grace to the other person. So that has been a big lesson, because it used to take a toll on me to receive like feedback and then take it take it lightly. Like, I'm going to take it. Yes, I want to change, but it has come with a lot of emotional baggage, a lot of low self-esteem. Like, you feel like, you mean I can't do this right? Why me? Why what? So yeah, I've learned to forgive
I think
myself.
one of the things I've learned a lot of course, one of the things is that there is that old saying that marriage you you marriage wedding is for the parents, marriage is for you. But I've learned that actually marriage is not for you, and it can't be done by yourself. So, many times when they tell that marriage is wedding is for the parents, then marriage is for you. Now you tend to hide and you want to do it by yourself.
True.
So what I've
That's
realized
true.
that actually marriage is not something you can do it by yourself. It is still it's the same way that marriage is for the whole family. Still, the wedding is for the whole family. Even marriage still is for the whole family. You can't do it alone. I think the couples that we lean into, we've learned a lot from them, looking at their advice on different occasions, even watching, observing, visiting them when they come to visit you. And me, I've just learned that actually there are people out there who have actually succeeded, are doing well in marriage. So I can't try to start inventing something. Like, why can't I just ask them what is going on? So me, the key thing is just wiping away the old thinking that okay, you can have it, you can run it, do it as a man. You a man, you can't. So sometimes you just need to be vulnerable and like, you know what, this thing, how do I handle this
Failing.
thing? Yes, you explain how do I do this, go about this, and that has worked for us, for me particularly. So it's been the thing that I've learned the most. that you can't do this on your own. You have to rely on some other people. There's people who have better knowledge, who have better understanding, who have better experience than you are, and they will help you actually handle the situation or handle the circumstance much better than you would if you went on your own. Then, of course, forgiving, yes, and then extending grace. You already talked about it. Now, sometimes you know that yes, you want things a certain way, but there are times you just need to compromise and you know that okay, even though you want it a certain way, it is not the gospel truth. So there's several ways to get to Entebbe. Really, you can use the expressway, you can use Old Entebbe Road, you can use Gaba side. Like, you can't say that this is the gospel truth, really. So learning that actually you are not always right, and you're leaning into to learn. I think marriage is a learning experience because every
It
time you
really is.
learn new things every day. You learn things from different people. From, like I've told you already, we learned from a couple who are our best man and matron, and we learn a lot from them. We go to them when we have questions, ask a lot of questions, and they're so gracious. They give us answers that we deserve. On that very note, we want to just send greetings to Pastor Alice and Bishop. So we love you so much. Thank you for being there for us and showing us that much love.
We are
Marriage
so
wouldn't
grateful.
marriage wouldn't be that easier without their advice, right?
True,
Yeah,
true.
it would be, hey, why? Maybe.
Yeah. I think it reminds me of what you said, marriage is not for you.
Yeah,
It is actually for God. Like, I think that's where the whole thing of extending grace comes from. You're like, but if I was really a perfect, good person, Jesus wouldn't have to die.
true,
Yes.
true.
So, and given that every time I'm always like every day almost you're sinning, you're doing something that is not right,
Yeah,
and you can still go back to boldly to God and be like, God, I want this, I'm your child, forgive me. Like, even before you say forgive me, he decided me, I've forgiven
yes,
you,
forgiven you.
so
Yeah.
that we have a perfect relationship, so that you can always come back to me, so that I can keep on loving you. I have forgiven you way before you even sin. Like, his mercies are new
Mm-hmm.
every morning. He's like, you know what, mercy for this person, because I love them, and I know they are not going to stop offending me. So now to know that, and you're like, you know what, this is a small thing. I'm not perfect either. So, and then what does God talk about marriage? Strife is not good in marriage. God does not want divorce. God, so when you look at it, you're like, at the end of the day, if God has said, wives submit, even if in that moment I don't want, but when I put it in context and remember that God said this, I will decide I'm not doing it for you, I'm doing it for God. So that has made like things a bit easier of making sure that this personal ego doesn't come in, because at the end of the day, it is my creator that I should be pleasing. He's the one who created marriage.
Yeah.
I didn't wake up and decide I've chosen to be married. It's a thing I'm inventing. It's called marriage. So that these are the rules. I found it already there. It's been going on. They are like they are like paths to follow, and people are following them. So I just have to follow the same people. And yeah, I think about Bishop and Pastor Alice, we are so grateful.
Yeah.
Maybe if it were not for them, I don't know.
Yeah, we
we
don't know.
would
We
we
don't know
would
what to
we
say.
would have even just maybe one day I would have already gone to my mother's house. I'm like, me, I'm here. You see me, mommy. I failed. I am not doing this. Even he's tired of me. What? But when you ask them and then you tell them the issues, they're like, no, you don't have to do this. This is a small thing. Simply extend grace. Do what? Sympathize and then give you advice. Yeah, because really marriage is not easy. It's really not easy. Like, you can't do it on your own.
By the way, on that not easy part, I want you, of course, you're watching this. I want you to just give a picture how many times you fought or disagreed with your siblings, or ask yourself, would you stay in the same house with your siblings? Of course, many people you'll find that they wouldn't actually offer to. I know a group. I know I have two friends who they actually graduated at the same time, and both of them decided to stay in different apartments. And I was asking them, why can't you guys share the apartment and cut the bills? And they didn't want, because really they are siblings, but man, it's staying with someone else is now, but these are siblings who are raised by the same parents.